On today's show, Friday is the biggest shopping day of the year here in the United States. So for the Dallas Mavericks, it's going pretty well right now, but let's go shopping. What do they need to take that next step? Because this team could win a title. Today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
We're hot.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
This music was on ESPN. And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks for being in every day or making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Subscribe to our free Locked On Mavs newsletter. There's a QR code on the screen. There's a link in the description wherever you're listening to this. It's the #1 newsletter in all of Locked On. And it's that for a reason. You get the best news and analysis straight to your inbox every day. It's free, and it helps us out if you subscribe to it. So subscribe to that. I appreciate each and every one of you for doing that. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com to get started. And joining me, as always, my co-host, media member, the Trade Titan, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I want to do a shout out off the top to everyone working in retail today.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to you. I worked in retail for, I don't know, 6-7 years. And I think it was the worst. It made me lose all hope in humanity. And,
do you ever see anybody get trampled?
I've seen some crowds, and it's like, I don't know what y'all are doing right now, but it's just everyone out there that's working in retail. I'm thinking about you today. Hopefully, if you're listening to this on like a lunch break or something and you're working a shift, reach out to us.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. Shoot me a DM or a tweet or something. I'll try to give you some word of encouragement, but shout out.
Shout out to all of you guys, and shout out to everybody that's shopping too and expecting to get some deals out there. Hopefully you get those deals.
You going for anything?
No, I don't need anything. I have all that I need.
New Lego set?
Oh, I am gonna get the X Mansion. You know that.
I am. I'm gonna go for it at some point.
You know I'm gonna show up to your house with it. I'm just in the box. I'm just gonna give it to you. We're going shopping, and the Mavs are gonna go shopping as well. This team is playing really well. After the win against the Knicks, they've won 6 out of their last 7 games. They're playing really well. Luka Doncic should come back soon, and we were recording before we know anything about his reevaluation and anything like that. But this team is on the precipice. We see how good this roster is and see how good this team is. But I got asked a question at the Knicks game by a Mavs fan and a listener. Do you think they can beat the Celtics? And I had to pause and sit there and go, man, I can imagine it all coming together, right? Luka comes back, you know, everybody playing the way they're playing. Luka gets back to MVP level, and I still went, I don't know. You still don't know if they can get there. And so what else do they need? So that's what we're going to do today. Go through some trade targets, some players we think that the Mavs could trade for that help get them to that next level, help get them over the hump there. And so we're going to start focusing on some of those.
Boston just seems like it almost feels unfair to do the whole but can't we beat Boston?
That's the thing though.
I know it is, but I gotta see this current Mavs team, like how they're looking right now with a fully healthy integrated Luka before I really go for I mean, Boston just looks like historic right now. Like this last year run, what they're doing now, KP's back now, like their roster and their payroll is insane. So anyway,
speaking of shopping on Friday, even Jeff Bezos was like, "No, I'm good. I don't want to buy this Celtics."
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna do
I'm good, guys.
But the Mavs can go shopping, and I mean, this is one of the things it's hard because we just watched this. 2 days ago, the Mavs had this like really fun win against the Knicks. A lot of it is because of all the depth they have. Dinwiddie played great, some of the bench pieces and all the stuff. And it's like, well, okay, well, what do we even need? And honestly, this is one of the first times in a long time that I'm like, you know what? I mean, there's a few things we'll talk about someday about some players that I'm like, oh, I would target him for like some insurance, or target him because I think he would fit well in this bench unit or whatever. But it's like the most confident in a Mavs roster I've been in a really long time. It feels weird to say that.
And that's why we're almost to December and we haven't done a trade pod yet. And we usually do a bunch of these throughout the season.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're waiting until now. But we wanted to do one because let's look at what across the league and look at a couple players Mavs could maybe get on some bargains. They could help them. Let's just talk about what the Mavs have. They do have 2 first-round picks. So for all the people that always respond to these, well, what do they have to give up? They have their first-round pick this year, 2025, and their first-round pick in 2031 that they can trade. They can trade both of them. So that's 2 first-round picks. That's something. They also have Maxi's $11 million salary as like a filler. So if you need to get a contract, you can use that. They have Omax that they can add to one of these if they want to, make Isaac sad, but they could send him, in trade. And then Hardy, I'm not sure that I don't think he can be traded because of the extension and the rules on that. So that's why we won't mention him. But what do they need? Let's go through that too. To me, if they're going to need anything, I know Dinwiddie has played well the last 2 games, and I know I sung his praises on the post-game show last night. But if they can get a vet scoring guard off the bench that's a legit, can get them some buckets, can set up some offense, that would just go so far on this team, I think, and could help this team a lot. They don't necessarily have to be able to play with Luka and Kyrie at the same time, right? But just somebody that can come in and play that. So that's one need for me that I look at.
Yeah, I mean, even like you could even say like, hey, their trade target's Exum and he's coming back for free at some point. And
you can't do that. There's too much history there.
Yeah.
Oh, getting Tim Hardaway Jr. back is like getting somebody at the trade deadline.
That was their big free agent edition.
That was their big free agent edition. Can't do that again.
Yeah, I would put that in there when I was looking at targets across the league. Looking at some teams, I'm like, all right, this player. I basically went through roster and like, all right, what are some players that could be gettable that maybe not playing a lot right now for some of the teams, and maybe even right now it's kind of hard. It's kind of early to identify like the real sellers or who's going to be taken out this year. But there's a handful of teams you pretty much already know their direction. But it was that backup guard spot for sure because of the consistency. If you could go out and get somebody that is a solidified, and it's not just all right, well, is it Dinwiddie tonight? Is it Jaden Hardy tonight? Is it Dante Exum tonight? Is there somebody that is like the notch like above them? And you went scoring. I think there's also a path too for like a defensive disruptor type too, that depending on the type of player that I could see, because like Quentin Grimes is technically that guy right now. Naji's been getting some minutes. I mean, Naji guarded Jalen Brunson 2 nights ago because you're putting that bigger length on a JB type of, which JB kind of like cherry picked some stats at the end of that game. But
yeah, he had 37 points on the post game show. I was like, man, he had 37. He's like, yeah,
little stat padding at the end. But
they were trying to catch up Isaac. He was doing it for the team.
Where Rick was proud, Rick Brunson. So yeah, some
with the promotion recently.
Come on. I think another wing is a thing. I think that's a huge one for him. I think when PJ was missing time, we're kind of like, all right, who's the backup for? Like,
yeah, it's tough.
And delete this footage after 15 seconds. Omax just not ready, and they need somebody.
That actually physically hurt my heart.
I'm still believing Omax long term. It's just this team might be like past his like curve. Yeah, and so
that was tough to listen to.
That's why the wing position, adding another defensive wing would be really nice for this team.
Yeah, some wing improvement, some vet guard off the bench. I also had maybe some shooting improvement. Maybe that's just Klay Thompson hitting shots, but I think shooting improvement across the board. But those are the things that I think that they need. And we talked about the things that they have coming up. Let's play the game. What about this guy? We'll go through a bunch of different guys, bunch of different names, targets for the Dallas Mavericks, including I've got 2 like long shots that would be perfect for the guard role that I'm talking about.
I'm ready.
And you're gonna laugh at me, but I'm gonna tell you who they are. I'll tell you who they are.
God, it's a lot.
You don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Skylight Frame. I don't know about you, but sometimes I go shopping and for people, and I just cannot find the right thing for somebody. And so I just either get frozen with indecision and don't get something and feel terrible about it, or I get something and regret it because I'm like, oh, they're not really going to use this. I just got something just to get something and just to buy something. But the thing that I like recently, and I've got an answer for my indecision, got an answer for you if you have a problem with trying to find a gift, it's skylight frames. You can add a photo straight from your phone and send it across anywhere. You can buy it for a family member, and even if they're states away or a country away or whatever, you can upload new photos to them right away. Easy setup, takes less than 60 seconds, and it's seamless sharing. Invite friends and family to easily share photos on the Skylight mobile app, and it's free, no account or subscription required. Now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/NBA. That's Skylight, SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/NBA. Get $20 off your first purchase now at skylightframe.com/NBA.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. Subscribe to our free newsletter. There's a QR code in the corner of the screen. You can also get text straight to your phone from us. We send texts all the time. Every game day, I'll send you a game day update at the beginning of the day. This is everything you need to know. Injuries, what to watch, the line of the game, what time the game is, where to watch the game, because I feel like they're all over the place. One day you're watching on KFAA where you can see us. One day you're watching ESPN and Followell is there. And then you're like, wait, what happened? I thought it was a national TV game. Shout out to Followell. And so subscribe to that. It helps us out as well. So check the QR code for a way you can subscribe to be a Mavs insider and get text straight to your phone. All right, Isaac Harris, let's play the game.
Let's play it.
I'm going to start with my two long shots because I think you went in a different direction.
Oh my gosh, you're starting with the long shot.
I'm starting with them a little bit.
All right.
The first one, this team is down bad, and they may need to make some changes and some moves. Is there any scenario where you think about Mike Conley from the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Wow.
He makes $10 million. There's a way to match up Maxi's salary with his. And you think about them moving on from him. Maybe the Mavs send a first that won't be good this year. And
I'm not sending a first for Mike Conley.
The 2025 first that's like not going to be very good.
No, I'm not sending a first for Mike Conley.
Okay.
All right, we're going webcam here.
or you send your boy Omax. Just send like a young guy that hasn't panned out. But you bring in a Mike Conley, he becomes that guy off the bench, and you don't have to rely on him the way that the Timberwolves are. The Timberwolves seem to have to rely on him. And that hasn't necessarily worked for them. He's been injured, but they've also been losing while he's injured too. And so I know they need him, and I know that they're in win now mode. But if they're 8-10 right now, and if it gets worse, and all of a sudden they try to make some moves and have to reshuffle this, then Conley's somebody I'm looking at that could set the table, play with Luka, do all that.
Listen, I like Conley as like a trade target, so I'm not attaching a first. The Conley.
Probably not either.
Yeah, the Conley for like Maxi type of thing is super intriguing. For the first time, like I don't think we need any like big targets because it's like they have, it's like they have Lively and Gafford obviously, and then Maxi's like their stretch five.
Unless they can get another like stretch five, right? But then you're like, okay, well, why don't you just keep Maxi at that point because there's not many that you can get at that price point. But yeah,
so that's intriguing though. It feels weird doing a trade like that with a team that you're competing with in similar spots and their win now. And I feel like I just saw somebody like 2 days ago tweet that like Minnesota is a Conley problem. And I'm like, I'm not trying to take a problem, but it is intriguing though.
But my thing is he starts for them. He doesn't have to start. He comes off the bench for the Mavs. He doesn't have to play some nights. Like it's the Dinwiddie role that we thought from the beginning of the season, but this time it's Mike Conley. And so they're 8-10. They're 12th in the West right now. What if it gets worse for them going forward, right? What if Anthony Edwards gets injured and all of a sudden they're done for the season, right? Like who knows? True. Okay, my other one, same vein. They're really good right now. They're much better than I expected them to be. The San Antonio Spurs are 10-9.
Yeah, they are.
But what if it goes badly and they come back down to earth? And what if Chris Paul becomes available because he makes $10.4 million too?
I'd actually be down for that.
Right? Like that's one where I was like, okay, I don't see a world where the San Antonio Spurs would actually do this season unless it just got really bad for them. Same kind of deal. But Chris Paul's my other one. Same kind of thing as Conley.
I would be more down for Chris Paul coming off the bench in Dallas than like a Mike Conley. He feels like he kind of like signed up for the full experience in San Antonio. He did. And it feels like they kind of like they're okay with it too. So whether they suck or they compete for a play-in spot, I actually have them like competing for a play-in spot. But like,
well, they're 10th right now.
But I would be down for it. That would be a great addition to the bench.
Yeah, that's the one where you're like, okay, you have a chance to maybe win a title here, Chris Paul. Like, here we go. So
consistent, all of it. Yeah,
those are my first two. They're long shots. Something terrible would have to happen to both of these teams, but they make the amount of money that would fit a maxi type trade, and they would be vets off the bench that could score.
Yeah. All right. So you brought more, right?
I got a bunch more. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I did too much homework then.
That's what we probably have to do 2 of these.
All right, so my first one, this team's really good too, better than I thought also in Golden State. Gary Payton II's not playing very much for Golden State right now, and they have all these guards with Pods and Moses Moody and these guys. It does hurt it a little bit with Melton going out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So I kind of like get that of them like him playing more then, but he's 32, a little bit older than what I thought. He was if you've been listening,
that's so old.
If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that this was like one of our targets for like the mid-level a couple years ago. And like, man, we should go get him, defensive guy, Dallas. And I think Dallas was interested in him and stuff. But he's on an expiring deal, $9 million. So you can match up a bunch of different things with that. And he's the guy that's like the disruptor type that if you're not confident in Quentin Grimes being your, let's say a point is out there that is just like torching Dallas, and they're like, dude, we just need somebody to get up in the best version of a Pat Beverly.
I mean, think about what Derek White and Drew Holiday did to the Mavs last year in the finals, right?
Like what's your version of that type of player? Is that Gary Payton II still? And he's a little bit bigger too. So anyway, he would be somebody I would be really interested in. Of saying adding to the guard rotation off the bench.
That's an interesting one. If they're gonna do that, then to me, why don't they just go get Dennis? Like bring Dennis Smith Jr. back.
Feels up to me that we would have already done that. But realistically, the best version of Dante Exum last year, is that better than what Gary Payton is right now?
Well, if he's gonna shoot 50% from three, yes. that's what Dante did last year. But the problem is they have this problem too. All right, when Dante comes back, they'll have this set the table, defend, guard. It's the perfect kind of player that they need for this team right now, especially with the scoring that PJ and Naji have started to bring them, and Quentin Grimes, to be honest. And he can play with Dinwiddie. But Dante did not play well in the playoffs at all. Like, we can't forget that. True. Yep. Even if we're waiting for him to come back, he still has to prove that he can even play in the playoffs, because Kid did not want to play him at all.
I wrote this down just as a reminder. You mentioned PJ's name a while ago.
Yeah.
Remember the whole like Mavs are going after Kuzma, and
Kuzma said no.
Yeah, I couldn't talk about that, last year. So like we've never talked about it on the pod. Think about that now, like Kuzma versus PJ. Dallas wouldn't straight up trade them straight up for each other right now, right?
No, I wouldn't. Nope.
I wouldn't either. PJ's just better defensively, and anyway, I just thought about that earlier, and I was like, man, looking back on it now, and considering everything that PJ has already done in Dallas, the standing on business and the playoff run and all the stuff, I'm like, you can't do that. Like, even if it was offered right now, straight up, like you can't do 1-for-1.
It's wild. I mean, we did how many podcasts did we do? Or I guess you weren't here. So how many podcasts did I do last year in the offseason even that was like Kuzma versus PJ? Which one would they do? And at a certain point, I was like, they should get PJ because then I was like, just go get Kuzma, get your extra scorer, get that extra guy. And they ended up making the definite right choice in PJ for sure.
Do you want me to keep going, or do you want?
I got one more that's kind of a guard that's in the same vein as some of these, and we could do this one. We've mentioned it probably every year we've ever done these. Another trade target. Like, we've done this show since 2017. We've probably mentioned his name every single time.
I'm ready.
Is it time to bring Dennis Schroeder to the Dallas Mavericks?
I literally wrote Nets guys because
he makes 13 million on an expiring, and he's playing really dang well right now.
I think Maxey would say, "Hey, I got to go out in the deal because
he would.
I don't think I'm going to stay."
He would. Him and Omax.
I mean, honestly, I'll just loop all of these together. Schroeder, Dorian, Cam Johnson, they would all fit in Dallas. I mean, we can have the separate Dorian conversation, but yeah, I think I would welcome all three of those guys. Wait, are you confident that Schroeder is better than Dinwiddie?
He's averaging 18 points and 6 assists right now in 34 minutes. I think he's better than Dinwiddie. But
if we can get FIBA Schroeder, sign up. Like, do it now. Call it in. But
he's just that extra. He's just that extra scoring off the bench. He's definitely smaller. He's 6'1". He's not 6'6" like Dinwiddie, but he's playing a ton better, shooting 40% from 3, 6 attempts again. I mean, he's definitely way better than Dinwiddie right now.
Will the Nets do business with us again?
I don't know. They still got They still have Dorian. They have that first.
They're playing.
Honestly, you know what? Yes, because we helped them get off of Kyrie. That was their whole thing. Is they wanted to just get off of him, right? They wanted to get out of the Kyrie Irving business, and the Dallas Mavericks stepped up. They were not the stepdad. They were the dad that stepped up and came in and said, "We will take Kyrie." Wow. And guess what? It worked out way better for the Mavericks than the Nets ever expected it to work out for them. And
I will say, they've been playing some good basketball. Jordy, their head coach, is
Fernandez.
Yeah, he's been a really good coach. I think Dorian's the natural target, though. Bias aside, how much we love him, he is a natural target for Dallas of like a bigger wing. I don't think it would cost you like a ton to go get him. And
he's playing. Imagine him playing the maxi minutes. Perfect. Like,
no, I know that, and that's the thing. It's like you want another bigger wing to come off the bench. He would play behind Naji and PJ. But like that's the type of guy you want to go out and get, and you just happen to have all the ties to him too. So I mean, talking about the chef's kiss there for them to go just add Dorian before the deadline.
Yeah, he comes off the bench, and then you go from right now. People have talked about the PJ to Maxi drop off when you do subs has been really big, but yeah. Imagine going PJ to Dorian, and also you could play the smaller lineups more. The PJ, Dorian, Naji, Luka, Kyrie, like you could play that lineup and it works a lot better because Dorian's bigger and can switch and all that. You can do those lineups more. Coming up, I got some more names. I got one that's like
me too. I'm saving my best one.
I know you shouldn't save it, but I am, and I have one that I'm like, all right, this is the one that would work perfect. So we'll talk about that and more coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds, things that you can use to get in on the action. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, you can put down a $5 bet. And if you win that bet, you can get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Go check it out. Right now, they have the NBA Finals odds. Right now, Celtics plus 230. Makes sense. They're the #1. The Thunder plus 500. Okay, makes sense too. Mavs plus 1,000. Knicks plus 1,000. That's interesting to me. The Mavs are the next highest one. So FanDuel is seeing what we're seeing in the Dallas Mavericks. So check out the Dallas Mavericks there for finals odds, all kinds of other stuff too at FanDuel.com. You got NFL stuff going all the time and college football with the playoffs coming and all that. Go check it out. FanDuel.com. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac Harris, we saved our best for last. Made the mistake. Should have started with it. What's your best trade target?
Sorry, I had to get a Bonhoeffer biography to set my computer up here.
Didn't they make a movie? They just made a movie about that guy.
That movie is not accurate at all. I do not endorse that movie at all. Anyway, let's keep going. My favorite trade target for the Mavs right now, talking about teams that are struggling.
Yeah.
And this Bonhoeffer biography is not the Metaxas one, by the way. Do not get that.
Okay. Yeah.
Jose Alvarado. So
interesting.
I think he's better than all the backup guards that we have. He can
Dinwiddie,
hit
Hardy, Exum.
he can hit the three,
Yep.
and he is the defensive like disruptor. I get it. He's small. He doesn't have like the size that Dallas loves having Dinwiddie out there and Exum out there because I mean these guys are like 6'6", point guards. So I get it. He's smaller, but man, he's so much fun. He is the type of guy who can come in and get some buckets, really energize the crowd. He can, really just be a pest to some of these like other guards out there. He's still 26. It's a cheaper contract. So the Pelicans are definitely struggling. I know Herb Jones is a classic, like, target for some people out there, and he would be awesome too. But if I'm looking at the Pelicans and saying like realistically, I would go after Alvarado. I think he would be a blast.
That would be great. He's only making 1.9. He's making like $2 million this year. So, I mean,
yeah, and then he has like an extension. I think after that, it's like 4 a year, 5
Yeah,
years, something like that. Yeah.
So, I guess if the Dinwiddie experiment doesn't work the rest of the way, maybe you just take that contract and flip him, send him something else. But yeah, the Alvarado one is definitely interesting. I did go with Herb Jones as my
Yes.
I did. I took the big swing because if you're going to make a trade and you're going to use these firsts, you got to make an improvement, and it's got to be something. The disruptor, like you said, Herb Jones is that guy. He could come in and be the defensive ace that the Mavs need, where all of a sudden you're starting Luka, Kyrie, Herb, PJ, Lively. That lineup will just be great. Bring Klay off the bench for some shooting. Bring Naji off the bench for some creation. Grimes off the bench. Gafford off the bench. That's a playoff rotation right there. Boom.
I mean,
you just made it.
You're adding a better version of Dereck Jones Jr. With adding Herb Jones, adding him to Naji Marshall, PJ Washington. Now you have all these guys.
Yeah.
Like that's the guy that, and to your point, like I would give up a first for him. Like you give up the draft.
Would you give up both?
Depends on the type of deal.
It's Maxey. It's Maxey and 2 firsts.
For Herb Jones.
I
got to see his contract stuff. I think you got to do some extension stuff. And people have floated his name out there. We're not just like, cherry picking a guy that would fit great in Dallas. I mean, they're paying all this money. Look at all these extensions that they're already committing to. They committed to Trey Murphy too. So it feels like he might be the odd man out, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Well, they couldn't move Ingram. So if they can't move Ingram, I'm like, all right, well, we got to do something to make some kind of, they don't have any centers. The classic trade people have said is Gafford for Herb Jones. Would you do that?
Because they have
because their contracts are the same,
and they desperately need Gafford.
Yeah,
that
would be hard for me.
I think it would be hard. I think I would do it because I got to stick to my morals. I gotta stick to my beliefs that
Books, movies, and this
that wings are more important than bigs, and to add a wing like that, I think I would do it. I think Herb's that good defensively.
I did too.
Especially come playoff time, to have him out there with interchanging with Naji and stuff.
I have 2 moves you could do back to back, maybe.
Add Herb Jones and Alvarado. Let's go.
Herb Jones for Gafford, and then go get Larry Nance for Maxey.
Larry Nance is one of my other ones.
Yeah, that's the one where like he could play a 5, he can play a 4, he can play stretch a little bit here and there, and that's the one you could do.
Can shoot the corner 3. He's not playing much in Atlanta at all. He's an expiring $11 million. Somebody's gonna go get Larry Nance, some contending team, and he's gonna get some have a moment in the playoffs where man, this is a really good Nance minutes there, and it's like, oh dang, I could have been.
I have 2 more. How many do you have?
I have 2 more also.
Okay.
You're gonna laugh at one of them.
This one would cost maybe both the first, but at least one first. And they're probably building around this guy, but I don't know. You never know what's going on.
Yeah, the target that's being built around.
Kobe White in Chicago.
Oh, I really tried hard.
He's 25 in February. He's 6'5". That's bigger than I actually realized. He's making $12 million. So it matches. And Chicago's probably building around him in a way. He's played really well. He's averaging 19 points a game. But if you want a scoring punch off the bench, that's the one that you could bring in.
I mean, if they want to go younger, like teen younger, they could build around Josh Giddey. I wonder how they feel about the Giddey like Kobe White combo. If Kobe White is gettable, you go get Kobe White. Like he's what you bring Dinwiddie in to have this like scoring 6'6" guard, point guard. Kobe White's that guy. He's better than all three of the guys that Dallas has. I had a smaller name in Vince Williams from Memphis. I know he's hurt right now, but it's like their roster is so deep. And this guy, like, he really impressed me last year as far as like a wing. And I'm like, is he going to be able to play on this team whenever? I mean, is Marcus Smart like who's available for Memphis because they can't play everybody? And then my last one, laugh at me, but I put it down because I think it would be almost like next to nothing to like get him.
Christian Wood.
Now stop. God bless. No.
That's one I would laugh at.
Pensac is like the Mavs ruined him. This guy has a $21 million expiring contract.
Oh my God.
He's 27 and his name's Lonzo Ball.
I'm out. No.
You wouldn't take a chance?
No, I would not.
Even for free.
It's not free. What? How much is he making?
21, but like getting the.
Can you do something for me? Figure out how many contracts you have to send back. It's Maxi plus.
Yeah. But I'm like Maxi, Grimes, Dwight.
Get out of here. Don't send my guy. That's my guy Grimes. I fought for him all summer.
I don't think I would either.
No.
But if you think he on paper.
That's all he is. He's on paper. That's his whole thing.
He would be like, imagine like the high upside of Lonzo. Imagine if like he was healthy and coming off the bench. Would you take a chance on Lonzo or Ben Simmons? First?
It is one where like, how
you have to answer that question.
Oh, Lonzo.
Yeah, I would too.
Ben Simmons making 40. That's even harder to get to.
Don't send me any Ben Simmons trades. No. I don't want any Ben Simmons content, anything in my life.
The thing with Lonzo is if he is somehow healthy for a playoff run, you win the title, right? Like you just have
passes, defends,
smart. All right, I have my last one.
Oh yeah, let's go. This is fun.
Off the bench, scoring. Team's not going anywhere. Jordan Clarkson making 14. Making 14 million. He'd be great.
I debated on it. I don't know. I'm like, is he good still? Like, I know he like torched the Mavs a little bit there, but. Yeah, I would be down for like I'm not giving up a first for him, but
that's the hard part is that Angel probably won't one.
But he would be fun to come off the bench.
Yeah. The thing is the Mavs have a good roster right now. They don't need to make any of these moves. They're not like in desperation moves, so they can sit and they're not desperate, so they can pick the right one that works for them. And so I think if the Mavs do make a trade this year, it just comes out of nowhere and we go, "Oh my God, I didn't even realize the Mavs were looking for anybody." So there's some trade targets. Let us know in the comment section on YouTube what you thought about that. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Check the QR code for ways you can follow and subscribe for more content from us, including the newsletter. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. We will be back with a post game on Saturday for the Jazz game. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.